Welcome, everybody. Hello. It's great to see you all, and welcome to our live show. I'm Anya with Restream, and joining me today is Matt. How are you today?
Hey, Anya. It's very good to be here. How are you?
Good, good. We're very excited because we are going to talk about something very new and very kind of anticipated, something that we've been working on for a while, and something that is really going to make a difference in the way folks stream. So I can't wait to jump into our conversation about Restream analytics and the new ways we show you stats and how that impacts how you can grow your channels and your audience. But before we get there, just a quick, housekeeping. So for those who are new to this show, we are the Restream team. I'm Anya, I'm his product marketing, and Matt is our product lead, and actually the lead on Restream analytics feature, which we will be talking about today. So how is your morning, evening? It's my morning and your evening because we're on opposites.
It's going well. This thing is really fresh. So we've shipped it yesterday, and we've actually shipped several improvements since. So it's still pretty busy, a pretty busy morning, monitoring some early metrics when it comes to the product usage and so on. So I really can't wait to share more about it today, so we can, show how it works, but also learn from the community how they would imagine using this going forward.
Yeah, we're super excited about this. Also, quick housekeeping, if you are not yet subscribed to Restream YouTube channel, please do that because we are growing it very proactively, and we really love and appreciate every share, every like, and every sub. If you're watching us somewhere else, today we're live on many, many different platforms, including X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and literally all over the place. Please be sure to follow us there as well. That way you will not miss updates like this in the future. And we are going to go into our chat just to welcome some of our viewers. Let us know in the comments where in the world you are watching from, if you're already using Restream and how, and what kind of content do you stream. If you already have questions about analytics because we announced this event a few days ago, go ahead and submit those questions. We are going to be starring and pinning them, and we'll have like a whole Q&A session in the end after we show you what we've built. So please feel free to start submitting. And I'm just going to go ahead and, acknowledge a few folks who are already here. I love that Sean noticed our very exciting little intro that was actually done on the new Nintendo Switch. I was also amazed that it's possible to write music on that thing, but apparently you can. And if you want to know how, ask Dmitry, our designer. Every time he does these things, I'm kind of like, what? What is this? And I thought it was really cool, Matt. I don't know if you noticed this little Easter egg thing that it kind of resembled analytics.
Yeah.
Even though the waves, it didn't. Hopefully your analytics are not going to look like that if you're streaming with us. But I thought that was really cool. But yes, that's
look like this.
yeah, that's super cool. Sean is saying he's excited for the demo. This is awesome. Not Phil Sledge is saying, I know who that is. Great. We do know that too. I use this streaming software and it's so good. I hope you're talking about Restream. If you're talking about Nintendo Switch, that's also true. It's also very, very good. I am so excited. Grant is checking in from Oregon. This is really cool. Liking Matt headphones from a warm UK. Ooh, they are actually pretty rad. I love that. It's a nice little design. Danger Zone is checking in. Hello from Oregon and hello from the States. Question: is this possible to stream on VR? It is possible. We have a lot of VR chat folks who are streaming through Restream. You would probably need to use encoder for that. Studio is probably going to make it a little harder to accomplish. But I know we have a lot of creators in VR space who are streaming with us on the multi-streaming integration side of things. So absolutely. Fish Fam Link. Hello, fellow Fin-loving friends. So one thing we want to do today as well as we did last time, we kind of kicked off with a few industry news and some things that are kind of like brewing online on social media platforms and kind of like on X and other places where people get news. So just to kind of warm people up, a few things that we noticed in the latest kind of updates that are relevant to creators and creator economy. Well, one thing that happened is apparently Meta acquired the Moldbook, which is, for those who don't know, was a social platform that existed exclusively for the Clawbot or Moldbot agents, right? I don't know, Matt, do you have your own little claw or mold bot, or are you like out of that whole do not give me that Skynet type situation?
I think the safe thing to say would be I cannot comment on that. But
Okay.
no. Long story short, this thing is crazy because your agents can hang out on the social media platform, but you can't. So you can't really like participate. I think you can monitor what they're doing, but I don't think they let in real people, which is just insane. So.
And they had talks about creating their own language, so like their humans could not understand that, which like totally blew my mind. Which I mean, I do have a claw bot.
Her
name is her name is
What's her
Lara.
name? Lara.
Yeah, Lara from Dr. Zhivago from the book, and she is quite sophisticated. She doesn't do a lot of like work for me because I'm trying to be careful without giving her too much access to. We already joked in the office that one day she'll just message me that she picked up my son from school, and all she needs me to do is just take her.
Actually practical stuff, right?
Right. But also, if I want to see him again, I will need to take her computer and bring it to the biggest Google server I can find because she really needs a little bit more power today.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, she's doing a little bit of stuff here and there, and it's impressive how sophisticated she is. To the best of my knowledge, she's not on that network, but we never know. But yeah, it's really interesting how Meta saw the opportunity in this, and to kind of like bring it back to Restream, we had conversations and talks about how like should we be able to stream into that platform? Like if Restream Studio could go live into the Mold book, what would that look like? What would that be? Because I bet the agents, the AI agents would be like, that sounds cool. I could stream. We could talk. We could cover things. We could have our own live show. Imagine how sophisticated and smart it would be. I would tune in. I don't know about you, but
I think they could either just play a video for starters, but some of them, as I've read on X, built their own like voice agents with 11 labs and so on, so they could actually send audio through as well. So maybe it's coming in a matter of weeks. Actually, this moves super fast, so we'll see.
It's the future of content, the social platform for agents with live video for agents. That would be interesting because we always talk about how humans do not compete with AI agents in terms of live streaming, right? Because live show is so authentic, it's real time, it's not recorded, it's not edited. But who knows? That's cool stuff. Another thing that we wanted to also touch on, which we thought was interesting, and feel free to chime in comments because we'd love to hear your thoughts on this too. So there's this big news about Twitch leaking their 2026 roadmap, which is kind of, I don't know, it does almost feel like it is sort of intentional. So it's almost like a marketing stunt, like, oh yeah, we like totally leaked our roadmap. But there are a few really interesting things there. They're like allegedly on that roadmap that the community is talking about. So what stood out to you, Matt? You had some thoughts on what's especially relevant to us?
Yeah, I would say like first and foremost, one thing that is not in the headline, but they do mention it in the article, is dual camera streaming. So basically, I think the direction here is really like streaming vertically and horizontally even more, having different looks on different streams while kind of ending on the same platform and delivering content in the right format to the audience. But we know that Twitch already has dual output, but they're, I think, going to push this even further with some extra or multiple cameras ramifications. And the second thing that really stood out to me was actually they've been a partner of Amazon Prime for a long time. So they are like basically improving their integration, but also stepping into live shopping. So we've been in this space for some time with live stream shopping, basically selling products on your live stream. And it seems that this trend has definitely picked up in certain countries, but it never like fully picked up globally, as far as I know. So maybe the timing simply wasn't right yet, but maybe it's coming in 2026. So it's great to hear that Restream is already well equipped and well positioned to support this. If you want to sell on your stream, it's definitely possible. And we will be monitoring basically what Twitch is doing. I'm very curious.
Yeah, I wonder, especially when you mix it all with ads and just basically like Prime, how how that would affect the authenticity. Because I keep the memory of Claude ads for Super Bowl, I keep resurfacing how like when AI gets involved and when things get like, when you start getting recommendations for things, it just starts getting like super strange and interesting. And when Amazon Prime is like, hey, you absolutely have to shop through that stream, like how authentic would that all work out? But it's, I would say probably live video is the last frontier where you can still have somewhat authentic interaction with the creator, right? And then when they share some products that they actually honestly love, it's a lot more real and genuine than ads that are kind of getting forced on content. So yeah, it's very interesting. We'll definitely keep an eye on that. Let us know if any of these features are something that you would use and you're looking forward to. And yeah, we already have our live shopping integration in Studio. We have our QR codes that can help you promote certain products and basically land people on certain pages, which we'll be also doing today as we transition to the conversation of our analytics. All right, let's see. I saw a lot of interesting comments in our chat, so let's see what people are saying. So some people asking what small book, but I see that there were already conversations about, so yeah, some people already answered that, like, oh, there's so many chats, damn it, sorry. Like trying to go through all of this. Huge fan of Claude Moldbot. I guess, what's the latest? Is it the Mold? The Mold is the right one, right? Like it used to be Claw and now it's the Mold.
I think it's OpenClaw.
It's OpenClaw now. That's why the lobsters.
That's the first one that OpenAI acquired. But then the Mold book is the social media platform, and it just picked up the name from the Mold Claw, which then was renamed to OpenClaw, I think. But I might be wrong.
Totally. Maybe one day we could use an API key for OpenClaw. I think you can already for some things, not yet in Restream Studio, but yeah. So this was like a quick little explanation for those who don't know. So that small book is basically a social media where AI talks to themselves and create their own language. It's kind of like Reddit for bots, for AI agents. That's how it was described. And yeah, this is really, like one step closer.
I feel you, danger zone.
It's really crazy. Here's another good one. You can take pictures of all your bills from the mail and give it access to your bank email to pay your bills as a helper. That's where I draw a hard line for my bot.
This is like not a recommendation.
I would never give her access to my finances or anything like super private, like my records, my medical records. I'm even hesitant to mention like my kid to her because I'm kind of like, I don't know what she's going to do with that information, especially access to bank or like anything that's sensitive. I would definitely not do that, but it's a way to use those bots for sure. And then there's of course the comment about maybe we'll have AI Tinder next. That would be interesting. So they will basically be dating each other. Because right now, I know a lot of people have kind of like this kind of weird relationship with their AIs. So they're kind of like use them as a companion in a way. But like, Tinder between them, that would be the next step. Awesome. Instead of having to log into all your accounts. So basically, yes, they can definitely go a lot faster, autoplay. Good stuff. The name changed a few times. I just keep forgetting which is the latest one, but I do think that is the OpenClaw. All right, now on to our topics. So we are here today to talk about new Restream analytics. So historically, Restream tracked your progress, and every time you're done with your live stream, you would receive a report that tells you a little bit of information about how you streamed, how many viewers you had. But we reimagined this feature and really took it to the next level. So Matt, let us know what you've been cooking for the past couple of months and how does it look now?
Yeah. Thanks, Anya. So as you mentioned, we've been collecting this data already, and we used to have some sort of analytics in Restream. But what's really changing with the new analytics is that we're actually bringing the value of all of your data points in one experience. So not only can you look at the data, but you can rewatch the stream in the same place. You can see it, side by side, or even with an overlay with views, how the stream was performing over time. And we've added a lot of additional information that might be handy as you kind of rewatch and try to learn from the past stream, such as chat. We also have the transcript, and then we have additional data that we will unpack very soon. But I really believe that for any streamer out there, you can only improve and get better at what you're doing if you look at what you've done before and learn from maybe your mistakes or some of the trends that you've been seeing. And with the previous analytics, one thing that was definitely missing was this sort of contextual view. It's very abstract if you just see a chart drop out of the blue. But suddenly, if you see it in the context of your video and you don't have to seek for the exact point in time of that recording, but you really see it together, you can see that, for example, you had a pause or like you switched to a different topic and suddenly people started dropping out or actually coming in, or the engagement rose in the chat and so on. So you will be now able to get all of these learnings in the one place, really. And there's so much more that we will show you in a bit.
Yeah, we are about to show you a few kind of guides and walkthroughs that show you exactly what's new, what changed, and what kind of new features and new kind of abilities you can expect from Restream Analytics. So let's let Charles take it away.
As a live video creator, you know if you're growing, but do you know why? Or more importantly, why not? This is Restream's new analytics. After each stream, track your progress across your whole account and see exactly how your live streams perform over time. From the analytics dashboard, pick your time period, 7 days, a month or more, and compare that period against the previous one. Keep an eye on 4 key things: how many times you went live, how many people watched, how engaged your chat was, and the platforms that people watched on. Wow, look, X is doing better than I realised. Each stat shows a trend up or down, so you know instantly what's improving and what needs attention. And if you spot a peak in your charts, you can instantly see which stream it was and then dive in to find out exactly what drove it. These are more than just pretty charts. This is how you improve your content and grow as a creator or brand. Let us know how you use them. Cheers.
Good stuff. We are going to show you another little walkthrough that talks specifically about the per stream analytics. So what you saw earlier is kind of like the global, what I like to call bird's eye view, kind of like a zoom out understanding of the trends of your whole Restream account or your whole brand. If you're using workspaces, that's going to be per workspace. So that kind of shows you how you progress, how you change, like what this stream did better or worse than the stream before. And I will show you a few specific examples later on as we go, because, for example, even this thing that we did in the beginning of the stream when we showed you a few news and kind of like trending topics from social media was driven by something that I saw in our analytics from the previous stream, that people really got engaged and the chatters went up when we actually started to cover some relatable topics that everyone is watching for. So literally, you watch this stats and this numbers, and then the very next time you go live, you can already implement your learnings, which is super cool. So let's have a look at how that looks on specific streams. So not the bird's eye view when you compare things with different periods of time and just kind of like look at the global picture, but what you can find out when you're looking at specific stream and really, really drill in.
Building a loyal community starts with knowing what's working. For this, you need Stream Analytics. After streaming with Restream, you get the full picture compared to your previous stream: viewer numbers, chat activity, and technical quality. You get to see when people were engaging with you and when they left. So the next time you go live, you know exactly what your audience enjoys. Let's take a look. Alright, from the dashboard under past streams, choose a recent stream, and I'm going to go for the last live show that Anya and I did, and this is the new analytics view, which honestly looks very cool. Now I can spin through the recording, and at the top you will find ways to use this stream as extra content. You can download recordings, generate clips, schedule it as a new stream after maybe trimming it, and export the transcript. And here you can read the transcript and the chat, so you can find things that you may have missed when you were live. Okay, in the middle are 4 boxes for a quick comparison to your last stream, and a little further down are charts that let you know how engaged the chat was at any specific time and the number of viewers as you streamed. Toggling specific channels off and on helps you compare platforms. And look at this, our vertical stream really lifted off. This data is actually showing that live streaming vertically really is the future. Alright, so that helps us make decisions on the content and the flow of my next stream, but what about the technical stuff? Well, you can inspect the incoming stream, including bitrate and frames per second. Now this is particularly important for those of you that use encoders like OBS, because it lets you know whether Restream was receiving a really stable stream from your system. And the outgoing quality shows you exactly how each platform received your stream. So if a platform had issues, it's highlighted. And look down here, our Instagram clearly had an issue, so I better look into that before our next stream. It is now easier than ever to understand what's working on your streams and make informed choices. And we're not done improving this feature, so be sure to check back regularly. And as always, let us know what you think. Cheers.
All right, so that was a really nice little walkthrough, so you can kind of see what changed. And of course, design-wise, it looks absolutely beautiful. I enjoy using it so much. It's so clear. To me, the biggest thing that probably stands out compared to the older version of analytics is the fact that we now have the chat, because when the chat is busy and when you are focusing on content, it's really easy to miss certain comments. And for the longest time, I always had that dream that I could come back to chats and find some really interesting comments, some feature requests, some feedback, some kind of sentiment, and all those things that is just physically really difficult to do when you're trying to multitask. So that was definitely one of the biggest things for me. What are you mostly excited about with this update before we turn into some questions? And folks, feel free to ask anything you want to know, because we have our analytics open, and we can also share our screen and go through like very specific details if you want to zoom in and kind of like rediscover or talk about something in particular that we showed. We definitely can drill in a little more. But before we take the questions, what's your favorite thing in there?
There's plenty, but besides, also checking the quality of your stream, whether that was with a stream with an encoder or how it ended up on the platform. I think one thing in particular that stood out as we were building it, because we were building it basically in parallel with our dual output, and we've built this new experience to show the landscape recording and all the affiliated data. But as we were progressing, we suddenly shipped the studio dual output and streaming also dual output with encoders. And we thought, okay, why don't we try to bring that experience into the analytics as well? So actually now, if you do go live into orientations at the same time, those recordings would appear in that same place contextually. So you can switch between the landscape and the portrait recording. You can see the chat, everything, but all the breakdowns when it comes to views and chat messages, even the stream quality is actually showing. Yeah, I think you're showing it there exactly. So on the right, for example, you can see those little icons that show you whether that stream was horizontal or landscape. Sorry, whether it was landscape or in a portrait. Yep. Exactly.
Here.
And it's pretty much everywhere when it comes to channels, because this thing matters. Suddenly you can stream, to YouTube vertically and horizontally and have basically like 2 streams coming out. And you can see suddenly like how that compounds over time, right? So these are different audiences watching a stream, different people But obviously, since you're restreaming and you understand the potential and the impact of restreaming and multi-streaming, you can really see how things compound if you go live on, not just multiple channels, but in multiple orientations, right? So I'm really hoping that people will find that useful, and looking for some feedback whether it's clear like which channel is which, but hopefully we made that clear.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. Like Charles kind of called it out at the during the next guide, that by looking just at the viewers, right, like how many viewers we had, and comparing just the two platforms. It's like very specific kind of question that we're trying to answer. Is it worth it to go live in dual format? And it's not that it takes us any extra effort, because now this feature is out and it works so well. But like, what is the impact of that, right? And you can see right here immediately that the vertical feed is picking up viewers a lot faster in the very beginning. Like you can see, like we're doubling, if not tripling, in some situations, the numbers of just viewers. And those are the viewers. And if you go to messages and engagement side of things, and I'm going to turn off other platforms just to keep it less distracting. So this is Restream channel vertical, and this is Restream horizontal, right? Like the traditional landscape view. Mm-hmm. And you can see how the chatters are almost always a lot more active on mobile, because folks are probably on the go and they're watching, and it's very easy for them to engage and ask questions, write a comment. So this is not just viewers, right, that you're capturing on those other devices, but it's also engagement and like actual real conversations, real questions, real feedback. The stuff that builds your community, creates this additional subscriptions for your channel, and hopefully turns those communities into your either customers if you're selling something, or just loyal community members if your show is based off your personal interest, hobby, or passion. So this is really, really cool. And it's really good to see this stuff. So
all right. I think like maybe you can also either just show in the chat that if you wanted to actually find some of those messages, they should also have those orientations affiliated. So you mentioned that some people were maybe here. Yeah, exactly. So if some of those people were like more engaged on given orientations or platforms, you could actually find out what they were saying, whether that was just emoji reactions or actual like questions and so on. And I think as you're zoomed in here, maybe we should explain why you are seeing, what are you actually seeing in this case?
Yeah.
So it's a couple of things. At first, obviously it's the time when the message arrived. Then it's the channel and the channel name. You get the orientation, and then you see this sort of anonymized label. The reason why we anonymize the chat is due to various requirements on the platform side, as we are sort of populating chat inside for you for later reference. So just for safety and privacy reasons, all of the messages are anonymized, but they are affiliated, which means basically like if, let's say, John sent you two messages, they would still be marked as person number 10,
person 9. I can see that right here.
This is a good example. So Ola from Waterway, and then they're asking a question.
Person 9 is back.
So we'll show you in a little bit what else is new with chat. But I guarantee you that if you really, really want to take the time and dig deep and maybe check what an individual person was saying, there is now a way to kind of get that data and filter for it. So I think it hopefully becomes much more contextual. And I saw someone in our chat, in our live stream chat, basically mentioned that you can finally make data-driven decisions. Just, my brain is wired to this project right now, so I absolutely agree with this, that you can actually finally start, deciding on what are you going to be talking about next time. Because, for example, if you don't know what to stream on your next, whenever you're streaming, just the unanswered questions are a great starting point, right? So if there was something that maybe you have missed because you were busy during the stream, you can always kind of come back to those messages now. So you're like, hey, John, or in this case, not John, but someone was asking a particular question. I didn't have time to answer it last time, but like, let's start with it this time. And suddenly you have very much personalized content that, ties back into your community.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely amazing, and there's so many things you can do with chats, and this is one great way to use it. Just basically drive your next stream topic, right? Or also you can create little captions from the chat messages that you didn't answer, and you can actually come back to them. You can also, I guess, do some pre-recorded content on that. If you are doing, so after every live stream that we do, we kind of create like a little cut down, right? Like we make like a short version of the live stream so people can catch up if they missed the actual live event. So that's another great place to kind of add those chat messages and questions that we didn't have time or chance to answer live, but you can actually come back to it and record like a little additional segment. So many different ways. And speaking of kind of like repurposing and like what else you can do from analytics, I really like that directly from here, you have a lot of different kind of action points of what you can do here, right? Like you can view your clips or generate clips if you
generate them. Yeah.
If you have not done that. So in some of our creators do have basically autopilot enabled. So every time you go live, the clips are being generated just like we do. But if you don't, that's a great opportunity for you to basically say, okay, I actually do want highlights from this event. You can schedule it as a separate stream. You can see the whole transcript, which is also right here, which I think is super handy. I see we have speakers here as well. So it's actually very helpful to know like who said what, right? So it's not like just like one wall of text. Yeah, it's, I guess we're talking about Bluetooth crashing, and that's very interesting. Is that before we even went live? No, it is not. No. It starts exactly.
From the beginning. Yep.
So it's like, why were we talking about Bluetooth crashing?
I mean, you got to watch the stream again, right?
Right. But this is exciting. This is exciting because like you find these things and you're just like, what? We were talking about this. This is kind of cool. So good things. Let's go ahead and take a few questions because we do have some really good ones in the chat, and we encourage you to continue asking because this is the opportunity for you to actually talk to Matt, the person who is in charge, who is the lead of this new product, analytics, and he knows everything about it, what's going on, what's coming in the future. We'll have a future section as well. So what are the plans, how we hope that analytics will evolve. But this is the opportunity to ask direct questions and, of course, provide your feedback. If you already saw analytics, if you already use them, because especially per stream analytics, I believe, launched a few weeks ago, kind of silently. So some of you have already had a chance to explore them, and maybe there's something that you would like to share that we should know that will help us improve. So let's go ahead and have a look. So of course, our favorite, love in the comments is always great to see. Oh my God, this is fire. Can you see it live? That is a good question from Quilly Memory. Can you see analytics being happening live? I actually didn't know the answer to that because they got reimagined so much that I'm already expecting them to like launch rockets into Mars. But yeah, that's a good one. So you still have to wait to end the stream in order to see all the goodness, right?
Yes, like you can in some platforms give us views concurrently in the middle of the stream, so you would see them where you see your channels. But to have a full picture, you need to wait till the end, because that's when you get all of the data points, as I mentioned. You get the recording. We also know, okay, the stream ended at this point. We can like kind of summarize the chat and provide it to you. Same thing with the transcript. And really, like most of the data points that we receive from the platforms actually arrive at the end of the stream. Also, a little caveat here, we support more than 30 different platforms at Restream, and they all have different limitations and constraints. So, for example, YouTube is really generous in terms of providing all of the data. So is Twitch or X, but in some cases, for example, like you would not see specific data points or chat messages if they're not shared with us. If that's the case for the platforms that you stream to, we always encourage you to check it on the end platform specifically, because the truth will be there. But if you want to see this sort of bird's eye view and aggregate view of how you performed when it comes to more, not the channel, but rather the content itself and its delivery, then I would recommend you to use Restream Analytics.
Absolutely. Great question from Circuits FM. There will be some margin of error between what YouTube or X is saying in my views compared to what Restream is saying. Is that correct? So then there's a clarification that it is not unreasonable to find some like minor discrepancies and differences in that data. But I'm curious what is that is possible, right? Especially because different platforms have very different ways of what they consider a view, a concurrent view, or viewer. I mean, I guess chats are a little bit more clear, like it's either message or no message, but with viewership, different platforms have kind of like different approach to that. So I guess that's what's driving discrepancies. Is that right?
It can definitely happen. Hopefully, it shouldn't be very frequent. We're trying to match it as much as possible. One thing that I can think of is definitely chat, because some platforms allow you to start chatting before the stream actually goes live on a scheduled event and so on. And then it's fairly tricky at which point we draw the line, like, is this still that stream or is it just your channel, for example? So there might be some small discrepancies, but overall, like, I don't want to generalize in this case, but if your stream has, let's say, 30 views or 35, do you really care about the numbers or do you care about the trend line, right? And I think what we want to show you with our analytics is that data is only meaningful if you have a good baseline and a reference point. So if I tell you, like, man, I have an agency and we deliver a stream to 100 people or 1,000 people, is that good? Like, how do you know what's good, right? You need to have some sort of baseline, some reference point to understand what good means. And when it comes to your content, you know best what is good and how you perform over time now with Restream Analytics. Meaning, if you had 20 views last week and this time you have 100, you definitely improved. Something has changed, and we will show you that improvement. And kind of we can share the screen later to kind of come from the overarching bird's eye view, and you would see, okay, this week is definitely better than the previous one. Anya, if you could go to analytics.
I'll go back to the overall, to the bird's view.
Exactly. Okay, let's wait for it to load.
I wonder if it's because we're live. I was actually going to do a crazy thing and go into the current stream at some point.
And
but
let's stay here. And could you maybe, so we have 30 days. You could do 7 days. Let's do 7 days, for example.
It's thinking, because there's a lot of data that is pulling, especially for us, because we stream a lot, we test a lot on this account. That's probably one of the things. That's kind of interesting.
Let's maybe go back
Let's do 14. Because 14. It's 7 days, because it doesn't count today. So it's basically comparing to nothing, because in just like 10 hours, it will be comparing this stream to the previous stream. But right now, it's just like a time paradox.
All right. So in this case, you can, like, just to illustrate the point, it doesn't really matter what the data points are. You can see a period that you're interested in. Typically, it would be this month or the last 30 days. Or if you want this month, you can use the custom date range picker, by the way.
Right here.
And, then you would see, okay, in this week, we're doing something different than the week before. Does that add up? Is the data correct? Okay, I want to zoom in on those like shark fins, the tip of the chart. Okay, these two streams happened. All right, I want to see which those were. I will go down in the stream breakdown and really like inspect them, right? Like you kind of have this bird's eye view, and then you dig deeper. So once you like dig deeper, you suddenly see, okay, this stream in comparison to the previous one had more messages, for example. And mostly I care about engagement and messages, so I will dig even deeper. I will read those messages, or I will try to like understand when they were coming in, right? So it's up to you, like how you think about analyzing the data, whether you want to start like big, or on top of the page, you can just jump to the last stream, or you want to like go further down in the history. It's really up to you. But all we were trying to achieve with this update is to give you solid reference points so you could make better decisions. So you always should have that sort of comparison, and you can be pretty playful with like, what are you comparing to what? But hopefully that will show you like, okay, we're definitely improving, or we're definitely like losing some audience here, and we need to like, ramp up on our content production and so on. So yeah, that's hopefully clear.
Yeah, and what I really love about the opportunity to compare like longer data periods, right? Like 7 days, unless you're streaming daily, is going to be kind of like a difficult period for you, because we're streaming basically once a week, right? Like, so for us, it's just going to be 1 against 1. So it's the same as comparing to the previous. For us, like 7 days is exactly the same as this versus the one that we did the week before. But if you look at like larger periods of time, for example, 90 days, for me, this is super cool, because this is when we basically started our regular live streaming programming, right? We used to go live whenever we would have an update or big enough update that we would consider share it live. But now, since 2026, since January, my team committed to doing these live streams every single week. And even if we don't have a major update, we would still go through changelog or do Q&A session or do a fireside chat with someone from the leadership team. So once we got this consistency, which everyone is talking about, right? All the time, be consistent, go live all the time, do it regularly. Now, all of a sudden, I can actually see in numbers, in like very specific data points, not just someone's opinions, right? That this is working. So our viewers are growing compared to when we were inconsistent. So, and again, this 90 days comparing from December to March to right now is comparing to other 90 days before. So this is basically September through December, which is not necessarily the low season or anything like that. We did have a lot of live streams during that time. We did launch certain products in that period. But this consistency that we committed to in 2026 clearly pays off. 16% growth in viewers, 133% growth in streaming, right? Like, so this weekly commitment is like we can see, which is awesome for reporting, right? Like if you have your team or maybe the leadership that you need to show, like this is actually, we made some changes. Like we pretty much doubled, more than doubled the number of streams that we're delivering. 26% growth in engagement. That's like, quarter of 100%. That's crazy. And of course, the channels, this growth is driven by our dual output launch. It's because now we're adding a lot of vertical channels. And because of that, we're significantly improving the number of actual destinations that we're going live on. So this is all like really cool and insightful information that before it was not available. So I really enjoy this kind of like comparison periods, and just wanted to highlight it. So I was going to just go ahead and see what happens if we go into analytics. So what will happen? Is that a way to do it? Should I just click on it?
You will not see the analytics of the currently live stream.
Okay, it's not going to be, okay, got you.
But since you're like browsing through the app, maybe we can call out that there are actually 2 ways to get there. Again, we know that people have slightly different mental models. So if you're thinking about the past and the history, just go to past streams.
Yeah.
Which
that takes you right there.
Exactly. And when you click on any of those past events, you're there. And you see sort of this mix of analytics, but also the recording. You also see the chat messages, basically everything we can provide you for this particular stream event.
Yeah.
But you can also arrive at the very same place if you're thinking about
analytics.
Numbers first, right?
Yeah.
So in here, you would see the very last stream is on the very top. Yeah, exactly. So it's on the very top. It's just this sort of quick shortcut. You can always jump there if you're interested. But then if you want to dig deeper, there's a stream breakdown, which basically shows you the events within this time range, right? So if you have 30 days.
30 days.
Yeah, 30 days, exactly. So we can see that there were 6 streams within this period of time. And you could, basically see them in terms of views, and then kind of dig deeper and uncover whatever data point you're interested in. So it's really like hopefully flexible in terms of like how people are thinking about analyzing their streams, whether it's just history and like more, I just want to replay my recording, or whether it's like data first and impact first. Maybe then you would go through this round.
And I love that it gives you a little hint on the channels right here. For a lot of people, it's going to be the same kind of group of channels as you go live regularly. But for us, we kind of like mix and match certain things. I really like this little moment when we were testing the dual output before we actually went live with it. Remember, Matt, we went with it and we were just like, okay, let's just see to make sure it works. And it generated 15 views. Like, who would have known? If not for analytics, we would have never discovered this little gem. I really Yeah, I think this is awesome and brilliant. So I'm gonna go ahead and get back to our little Q&A session. But actually, maybe before we go to questions, I can see our producer Charles is hinting that we should really talk about chat exports, because that is going to answer a lot of questions, which we will still acknowledge. So this is so new and fresh that if you look very attentively, drumroll, yes, at the videos that we shared earlier, it still shows us coming soon, but not anymore, because soon has arrived this morning, and now we do offer chat export from your analytics. Matt, do you want to share a little bit more about what that means and how that works?
Absolutely. Yeah. So let's start with where we are. So we are on the Stream Analytics page for this specific event, where you could already see the chat, right? But if you want to dig deeper, as I said, for example, maybe filter just for YouTube channel, for example, or check person number 3, what is it that they had to say. We want you to be very flexible. It's your data at the end. So we now allow you to export as a CSV. You can find this option on the very top of the page, and it will basically list you all the important data points in a table, like with the proper timestamp and like the channels and the messages and so on. So this is very fresh. We still improving the data points that are as part of this export, but the essentials already work. So hopefully this is going to be useful for those who either want to just have a solid backup, whether you download your recordings, your transcript and your chat. Now you can, and just store it wherever you want. Or for folks who really want to dig super deep in terms of analysis and they just want to open it in a nice spreadsheet, you can do that too as well.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. So I am going to go ahead and take a few questions, because we have quite a lot. So of course, the number one is what we already answered. Can I download the chat transcript? Yes, you can, as well as the transcript of your whole stream. But the chats are also now downloadable, and lots of actionable items from there.
Anya, I would maybe just reiterate. So the export in terms of data structure looks exactly the same as the chat transcript we show on the page, meaning the people who have sent those messages are anonymized.
Yes.
This is again due to platforms limitations and also as a privacy concern for GDPR in Europe. So we hope that people basically respect other people's privacy and appreciate that you can get the data, but not the actual handlers. Those are only available on individual platforms.
Yes, absolutely. And there is also a question about, is there a way to see which user made the most content? So it's kind of connected because it is anonymized, but is there a way, or do we plan to say that, for example, person 10 was the most active chatter? I guess it's interesting because if you cannot really match them back to specific people, then it becomes kind of like, why would you want this information that person 10 made the most comments if you cannot really tie it back to a specific community member, right? But it's an interesting question. What do you think?
I think it's just an hypothesis, but maybe you remember who it was during the stream. In that case, it actually makes a lot of sense. And I think this is a great feature request. We could talk about that in the section where we talk about the future of analytics.
Talk about the future. Yeah, there are a few questions.
Definitely keep such suggestions coming, because this is exactly what we want to hear, how you're already thinking ahead. Okay, tomorrow, how am I going to use this? So this is brilliant.
I love it. And then another one, also kind of forward thinking, something that I definitely see can be very useful for reporting. Is there a way to download the whole analytics as a CSV or Excel file? So if you are part of the larger team or organization and you kind of need to do some reporting work to show that your live streaming program is effective, is that something that we're planning to bring in? Because right now you can only download transcripts and chats, right? But you cannot download the whole thing.
Yeah. I think it's inevitably coming. The form of it is not yet clear, whether we will allow it through sharing or by a link, or whether it will be exportable. to like a PDF, including all of your charts. The downside of PDFs is obviously the content would be static, right? So you would not see the recording, and you would not see like the charts wouldn't like move so nicely as they do on a website. But we're very much aware that this is useful, especially for folks who do regular reporting. So yeah, stay tuned. This is definitely on the roadmap.
For now, good old screenshot would probably do, since it's going to be just as good as PDF. Or
if you're using Restream workspaces, and you have simply access to that workspace, you can check that page yourself.
Absolutely, yeah. Just give your the people that you want to report to access an additional seat in your workspace, and then they can go and see for themselves. Love it. What are we comparing to? Do we have a baseline? So yes, that's basically what we covered in the beginning. When you're comparing the time periods, it's the same time period but before, right? 7 days. This 7 days versus 7 days before, 30 this month versus the months before, 90 days or quarter versus the previous quarter. So those would be your baselines.
That's correct on the sort of bird's eye view.
Yeah.
So you always like define the period, and then it just compares whatever that period is in the past. However, if you like click into a stream, it currently automatically compares it to the previous one. I think I want to acknowledge that this is not always perfect, because if your previous stream was a test run, the comparison will not be very accurate. So we're thinking about how to solve this. Maybe allow you to select what is that baseline, what like stream you want to compare to what stream. That sounds a little bit more advanced, so we'll see how frequently this comes up. But yeah, we thought about it.
Yeah, it's actually, we actually talked about this recently, because we do have some of those, because we do have some testing that's happening on the same account. We have to test things that before we go live. So sometimes we get this, it looks so pretty because the numbers look like, out of this world, 2,000% growth in chatters compared to your quick little sound check or test. But yeah, it is definitely going to be more, I think, useful if we could kind of exclude, maybe exclude certain streams from the analytics altogether, or choose what you are comparing to. And then a quick clarification.
Nice idea with the exclusion, actually.
Yeah, and just like check off the streams and like this is not real. Let's not look at that.
I mean, you could potentially delete them, and then it's not going to happen. If you don't need them in your reporting, that would be the quickest way to get it done. I just want to also say that since we know about this potential case where like the real stream is being compared to like a test stream, we're pretty honest in the interface. So if you like zoom in on the numbers, it shows you what is it comparing to. So you will see, okay, this number is a bit fishy, like, and then you will see like it's actually comparing it. Yeah, if you click into, I think, any of the last streams, for example, no, on the stream breakdown,
like here.
And then zoom in on the green numbers, you can see that they're pretty huge.
Yeah, that's exactly the comparison with the test stream.
Exactly.
That's and it looks so good. It looks so good.
Wouldn't that be great, right?
I love 2,000% growth of viewers.
We definitely need to improve it. But like, if now we're aware of this particular scenario, if we just deleted the previous stream, it would be much more honest, and it would be truly comparing to the previous week. We don't typically do that. We keep all of our test data as well, just for archiving. So in this case, the data is not the most telling. But if we opened this one and the actual previous one, you would obviously see the change yourself. So as you can see, it's always fun with math and data. We definitely need to like keep playing with it and find the right balance, like when it comes to the baseline, because I actually saw a bunch of questions about this in the chat, and people always wonder what is good, what is the baseline,
what is
like
it depends on
is
you.
It the market trend, is it like, are you comparing me to something on the market, for example? So that's always tricky.
But I think, the most honest answer to that is you're most of the time comparing to yourself in the previous period of time, or maybe there is at some point a future where we could give a baseline of similar industry streams. So, for example, if you're a gamer, what is going on overall in the Restream community for gaming type creators, or podcasting, or maybe events or tech teams doing like vibe coding sessions. And if we can identify those specific categories and just kind of like give you an idea of like kind of overall kind of the temperature by all Restream creators, that would be kind of interesting information to have. Just kind of like very, very generic. There is also question, kind of a clarifying question. So will the admins, you kind of already touched on that's the best way to get those reports is to invite people on your team. So the admins will be able to see the analytics as well, correct? So just to make sure we answer Max's question. Yes, they do. And of course, from Sean, are there plans to create exports that can be offered to marketing teams using similar graphics? Something exportable would be awesome. So yeah, again, a link would be probably the best. Yeah. For marketers. Some good love stuff. Congratulations on the launch. And a question about AI integrations from Tom. Do you plan any AI integrations? That's actually a segue to our future of analytics because we do plan some. Yeah, I mean, we can just go into it and talk about this a little bit, and then we will take more questions because I see there's a lot more. So we will. It's going to be a living organism, this conversation. So tell us about the AI integration, and I'm going to go ahead and share the screen again and show you what we're kind of like, where this will be. So AI integrations, what is that going to look like?
Yeah, you can zoom into the chat transcript tab, exactly, and zoom out a little bit, yeah. So for now, and that could obviously change in the near future, but we've made the first step to aggregate all of the interesting data points of your stream. That is the content itself, which is the recording, then the chat, the transcript, and some data points. And we also have information about where you went live, like what channels they were, and so on. And while we are already able to like present you the data, we always thought, wouldn't it be cool to just like talk to your stream? Like just tell me, how's it going? Like what was the sentiment in the chat, for example? Or what were the main themes in the chat? Or maybe even some sort of quick search, like, could you please help me find the passage where I was talking about XYZ, and so on. Do you have maybe any feedback on it, and so on. So we're already working on the next iteration where we basically want to allow you to talk to the stream, if you will. And what that means is really to talk to all of the data points. So whether that's what has been said, the audio transcript, or how people reacted, that is the chat transcript. And it could be even additional like data points like the title, the description, the time when you went live, the channels that you went live on, because basically the AI could start advising you, okay, this title was actually a bit too long. It turns out that it gets truncated on these platforms. So maybe next time do XYZ. So this way, we again, the main objective is not to bring AI. The main objective is to help you learn and grow as a streamer. And we hope that this could be an engaging experience to kind of do that and have this sort of almost as a coach for live streaming, right? That would always use your past work as a reference point. So I think like this is the biggest thing on the like immediate next steps in terms of the future. I will mention maybe one more that we're thinking about in the same ballpark of just like helping you improve, which is some sort of gamification or like tips when it comes to the, we talked a lot about the baseline, what is good, and so on. And we do know some golden standards. For example, YouTube recommends going live every day, at least for 45 minutes, if you really want to see like some impact. For example, or different platforms like have different points in time or length when it comes to duration or bitrate and so on. And we could start showing you some very useful tips, again, based on your streaming. So if you would not necessarily look at, so the AI part that I've been talking about is really like focused on one stream. And then there's lots of cool stuff we could do on the aggregate, just comparing data points, right? So we could for example, tell you this stream was better than this stream because, right? We pull up the messages and suddenly we see like there were many more questions in the chat. And suddenly that like shows you why the engagement was driven, why maybe like more people were joining or they were not dropping off as fast and so on. Or if things are not going so swimmingly, you could, for example, get tips like, it's been a minute since you went live. It's been like, 40 days. What are you doing? Maybe
What are you doing?
Get back on it. And here are like 3 things you could do. For example, some forgotten chat from the history, or just like some best practices from the market, like what you could try. Try 5 minutes or do something very small. So this way, we really want to level you up as a streamer. So while like analytics or data can be sometimes perceived as boring, we hope it can be actually very engaging learning experience for you.
No, absolutely. Yeah, like introducing some FOMO moments, coming back to comparing to like the baselines, right? Like, oh, your coworker Anya went live yesterday and got 2,183% improvement in her viewership. Like, you should go and do it too. Yeah, this is really cool stuff. There are questions about API that I think are super exciting, and the chat is kind of covering a few ideas and kind of already riffing off of some things that could be. The question from Dennis, and I know that's you because you have the same name in Slack. This is our data guy, our analyst, and he is asking, are there any plans to make analytics available via the public API?
I would say the plans exist. It's always a matter of priority when we get to it. But we kicked off the stream with Maltbook and AI agents. And one of the things that we definitely want to recognize is just being very much aware of the new agentic era with MCPs and unlike smarter APIs. So we are investing heavily into like making our public API better, whether that's for scheduling your live streaming or AI clips, or whether that's maybe for analytics. So if you're a bit more on the geeky side, or you want to like build something on top of the Restream API, please stay tuned. Definitely more news are coming about that and this year.
Awesome. Lawson is saying, maybe I missed that, but is there a sneak peek into AI part you plan to add? You did not miss that. We were just about to go through it and we just covered it a minute ago. Also, some comments on the anonymous part. I'm good with the anonymous part as the sentiment that is important, especially to compare the sentiment of the target market. So that was actually the question too, like, let's jump into the sentiment analysis. Is that something that we also plan to introduce? I do believe that through AI Assist, you can actually ask that exact question, right? Like, what was the sentiment of my chat? Are people happy? Are people frustrated? Are people asking a lot of questions because the update that you're sharing seems confusing? So those things are definitely going to be possible through AI, but maybe there's like a special kind of like already curated sentiment analysis that you don't necessarily have to ask AI for.
Yeah, I think, even with AI, it's, I would say, kind of scary to just introduce an open question box and just like ask anything. Oftentimes, like, people don't always know what exactly should I ask, what is the right question to start with. So we're thinking of some clever presets that like should help you get going. And the sentiment analysis just keeps coming up. Is basically like, what was the mood, right? Like, were people like bored, or they were like laughing, or what was the vibe in the chat, for example. Personally, this is one of the first things I would be always interested in. But maybe some folks would much rather like talk about their own narrative and question the transcript. Excuse me. So for now, like, we really need to find what those good presets are and start with those probably. Yeah,
absolutely. So Zapier and 8N integrations would be cool to out-export your own reporting. That's also kind of part of the API conversation, making it public, making it more automated so you can make this part of your workflows. Yep. Great question here. Also, are there any plans to add lead forms? It would be cool to relate the analytics of the stream to actual lead generation. Very relevant to professional creators and folks who are streaming marketing, product launches. And even if the goal of the stream is to generate leads and bring people to your product or service of any sort, that's a good one. What do you think about lead gen?
I mean, I agree. It's definitely important. We always need to weigh very carefully how we spend time and what is most useful to our customers. But just to say, I'm always like thinking not just to ditch the question, like how could you possibly get it done? So if you are using some lead form, and there are plenty out there, you can use our Restream embed. So you could potentially like embed the stream on like a closed form, for example, if you want to stream there. That would be the quickest way to get the job done. When it comes to actually like Restream powered lead forms, I don't think it's coming anytime soon, but maybe I'm wrong. We're always listening what is the top of mind when it comes to our customers. So yeah, thank you for the idea. We'll consider it.
Yeah, and a quick clarification here, it could be an integration with Typeform or something like that. So basically, yeah, if you are generating leads through some kind of like a Google form, right? Like for those who don't know what Typeform is, it's kind of similar concept. So basically you create a form, you ask people to enter their information if they're interested to learn more or sign up for something, or purchase a product, get on the wait list, whatever you guys are doing. Yeah, so and then basically you can, in the analytics, say, okay, so this many people did take this action and this is the information that they entered. So very, very simple. Congratulations, you opened a Pandora box of awesomeness. This is yeah, awesomeness sauce of analytics. I love that. And I also wanted to highlight a comment that I can highlight as a chat because it is our behind the scenes producer having enormous fun, and he was suggesting ask AI to filter out test streams. So coming back to this idea, like why the test streams are basically
are even there, right?
Yeah, comparing. So you can actually make that a prompt for your AI integration, like your AI part of the analytics, and say, okay, so now filter out all the streams that I do on Saturdays because this is just me being silly, and this is not like a real like professional part of my content. Like, so kind of like filtering out streams through AI is definitely a thing. And I love that folks are already thinking, my wheels are turning regarding how to utilize this data to drive data-driven decisions. Yes, this is what this is all about. It is designed to help you actually
get those wheels turning.
Exactly. And hopefully that will impact how like your baseline and your bottom line, right? How your content grows, how your community grows, how your product grows, how your channel subscriptions are going up, because all of those little snippets, if you know what you're looking for, and if you can translate the insights that you get into actions, and next time you do something differently, that's how growth happens. Just you have to change and tweak things here and there, and it's a lot easier to do that when you have those little hints. Like, okay, chat gets really quiet if you do, too much screen sharing or if you play too many videos. So really, really good stuff. Okay, so I guess those were all the core questions that we wanted to answer, and we're really good today. We managed to pretty much wrap this up within an hour and 15 minutes. So if there are any other last questions that you would like to ask, if something else comes up later in terms of analytics, any questions, feature requests, feedback, ideas, things that you would like to see in next iterations, be sure to reach out to us. We have 24/7 human support, not yet AI. Slightly AI assisted, but mostly humans, when you can talk to them. And definitely our DMs are also open. You can find both Matt and I on LinkedIn and on X. Send us a message, share what you see, what you would like to see, and we'll be happy to, that we're both pretty active on social media and we're always engaging in those conversations. So even if you leave comments after this video, I will probably be checking that and following up with you. The tutorials will be posted on YouTube soon. And I guess we are going to basically see if there are any very last final questions. Maybe this is the time to ask them. The QR code right next to Matt allows you to scan it and go directly to the analytics page, but it's probably easier to just click the link that our moderator Grant is going to also drop in the chat right now. and you can click it from there, and you can see the analytics for yourself. That's the link if you want to really type it up. Thanks for. I needed your hands because my hands can't reach over there. You have the link.
That would be very difficult for you to do.
That would be a very difficult to do.
Why is this? Studio is powerful. What's this?
Ta-da! See, I got transferred. Yeah, so this is the link right here. You can definitely check it out. Let us know what you think. Let us know what else you would like to see there. And big thank you for all of you today who joined us. Thank you for thoughtful questions, for your celebration comments. Don't forget to subscribe, as our co-producer Charles is reminding me by showing this exciting overlay. If you're watching on YouTube, definitely subscribe. If you're watching on other channels, be sure to follow us. We love seeing our follower growth and chatters, comments, all the engagement. We really, really appreciate you hanging out with us. Your time is super valuable, and you joining us today and spending time with us means a lot. That means that what we're building is actually impactful and meaningful, and you guys are really interested in that. So that's good stuff. Big thanks to Charles, our co-producer, for pinning the chats and managing all this and creating all these tutorials for us, so we could show you some really good content today. Thanks, Grant, for moderating chat on YouTube. The whole studio team for making this product possible for us to show up and talk to you in real time. Clapping. This is lovely. And for all of the creators, all of the social platforms, we will see you next Wednesday for another Q&A. If you have any ideas of what we would like to hear the news or updates on, let me know, and I will see you later. And thank you to you. Okay, you're here now. I'm so trained to look at you here. Thank you for being my co-host today and for walking us through this new build. This is really exciting, and you guys did an amazing job with this feature. I'm so proud of you, so proud of our analytics, and thanks for presenting this to me with me today.
Thank you so much. It's been fun, and guys, please let us know what you think about this. We can't wait to make it better for you.
That's the goal. All right, little hearts if they work. And
I have them disabled because it always does balloons for this. And
whenever because you do this so much that you basically end up with balloons. I mean,
peace, you know.
Yeah, and confettis. Here we go. All right, see you next week. Cheers.